Hi guys, I'm Laura Vitale. On this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I want to show you how I make my spelt bread. Now, I shared a picture on Instagram not too long ago of my avocado toast that I served that I made on my spelt bread, and I had so many of you ask for the recipe. Now this is very similar to my whole wheat and oat bread, very similar, but you requested it, you wanted to see it, so I wanted to share it with you. It's a bread that I've been making for a really long time. It's one that I love to use for like open face sandwiches and to make tartines, or just I love any kind of like whole grain, whole wheat, nutty bread, so this is right up my alley. Let me share with you the list of ingredients. You'll need some spelt flour. These are some quick oats. You can also use old-fashioned oats. Salt, a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of honey. I've got some active dry yeast and a little tiny bit of sugar. Now I also have some warm water here that's been warmed to about 110 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to add my yeast and my sugar to that, and I'm going to just give that a stir and let that sit for a few minutes until the yeast is puffed up. It's proofed and it's nice and foamy and lovely and really fragrant. That's when you know you are in business. Okay, now the one thing you need to keep in mind about this recipe, very much like my whole wheat bread, is that I'm not using any white flour here, and anything that's a whole grain, anything that's whole grain like that, it's going to be naturally more dense. So this is not going to be like my white bread. It's going to be more like my whole wheat bread in terms of texture. It's going to be really dense on the inside, lovely, and has like a little bit of a honey flavor to it. It's not sweet, but it's not super savory. It's just really phenomenal, and I absolutely adore it. I especially adore it for, like I said, open face sandwiches. So do keep that in mind, that it's not as soft and fluffy and as white bread. I'm going to add all of this to the bowl of my standing mixer that I have fitted. Well, I haven't fitted it yet, but I'm going to fit my standing mixer with a dough hook. I inhaled all that spelt flour. I'm going to just set this aside until my yeast mixture is ready to go, and in the meantime what I'm going to do is just oil the same bowl here with a little bit of olive oil or veg oil, whatever you have, because this is going to be the bowl that my dough is going to rise in. So I'm going to let that sit and carry on. This looks fantastic. Now to it, I'm just going to add my olive oil and my honey. I did spray my little cup with non-stick spray just to ensure that the honey would come out easily. Give that a quick little mix, and I'm just going to add all of this to my dry mixture. This is really an easy recipe, and it's a really great way to add a little more yummy, healthy goodness into your diet. I really always have been a really big fan, like I said, of whole grain, whole wheat, oat bread. 7-grain bread is one of my favorites. So this is something that I adore, and I've been making for a really long time. Now all I'm going to do is let this go on medium speed for around 3 minutes or so, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's there. Gorgeous. Okay. I just need to get this out. You can see it's a little more sticky than like my pizza dough or anything like that, but it just works. I love it. Joe loves it. It's really great to keep in the freezer. And now I'm just going to take this, which, like I said, it's sticky, but you can see it's not as runny as like a batter would be, like a cake batter, you know. And now all I'm going to do is just take my brush that I had a little bit of olive oil on to oil my bowl, and what I do is just kind of take a little oil from the side because I'm too lazy to get the bottle of oil, and just tap the the top. You just want to make sure that you don't get any dry little patches. Now all I'm going to do is cover this with some plastic wrap, stick it in my microwave because that's pretty much the only place that doesn't get bothered by anything. No door slamming, no windows opening, nothing like that. A draft-free place is ideal for when it comes to dough rising, and for me it's my microwave. Don't turn the microwave on. I'm going to cover this with plastic wrap and leave it in there for about an hour and a half, or until it's really nicely doubled in size, and then I'll show you the next step. I love bread. Alright, you can see this has doubled beautifully, and what I have here is a 9 by 5 inch baking pan, like a loaf pan. You can see mine has a lot of history. It's well used, well loved. I've got many of these, and all you want to do is take one, spray it with either some olive oil spray, or just brush it with a little bit of olive oil or vegetable oil, whatever your heart desires, and set that aside. This is how easy this is. I don't even have to knead this outside of its bowl. I do this very straightforward and very easy. All I do is I sort of gently punch it down like that, right? I have a little bit of spelt flour here for my hands because it is a little bit sticky at this point. I just kind of push it in there like so, just to kind of deflate it. Then, once you've done that, again, use the flour to make sure that your hands don't stick. And then all I do, if you can come close, you'll see, I take the end furthest away from me, fold it in like so, like that, right? And then that way it's gotten that like triple fold in there. Then I just take it out, because what I don't want is to add any further flour to this. So if I were to put this on a floured surface, I'd add more flour, and I don't want to really do that because then it would just create a really tough, heavy loaf. It's already heavy as is. I need to grab a knife really quickly because I want to make a few slits on top of this now before it goes back for its second rising. And then just using a sharp knife, I just kind of go in there like so. And those slits are important because it does allow for even baking. And then I take a little bit more oats and I put some on top. And then what I like to do is just sort of press them into the dough so that they stick, and then I'll just fly off all over the place. And I just sprinkle the top with just a little bit more of the spelt flour. And then all I do is take the same plastic wrap I was using to let it rise the first time, loosely cover it like so, and let this go for another hour to 1 hour and a half, or until it won't be like super domed, but you want it to come up to the top of your baking pan. So I'm gonna let that go, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it is there. That's it. All right, so my bread was rising for about 1 hour and 10 minutes. I'm impatient. This is good enough for me. If you want to let it go for 1 hour and a half, by all means do so. I just want to get to eating some warm bread because that's just how I roll. Now, don't panic if when you take off the plastic, your dough will deflate a little. That's fine. That looks great. What I'm going to do is just take a little bit more flour. This is just some more of the spelt flour. Now I have my oven preheated to 400. I'm just going to pop this in and let it bake for around 35 minutes or so. Then I'm going to take it out and let it cool on a wire rack, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. I'm salivating. I'm excited. My bread baked for 35 minutes exactly. I took it out of the pan pretty much after 2 minutes or so after it came out of the oven. I took it out of the pan and let it cool on a wire rack. It's still warm because I am a sucker for warm bread. I love it so much. I can't even tell you. It smells phenomenal. Like I said, it's got the same look, feel, even flavor to a whole wheat bread. I love it. And it's nice, like it's got a nice crust on the outside. Hear it? But it's really lovely and dense and just gorgeous. It's dense, but it's soft. So it's hard for me to actually describe it when I say it's dense, but it's soft, because like the inside's really lovely and soft, but it's a heavier crumb, and I'm thrilled about it. This is one of my favorite breads ever. What I want is a smear of avocado, and it would be heavenly. So, you wanted to see it. I wanted to share it with you. I hope that you found this helpful. Go to laureninthekitchen.com to get the written recipe. Let me know down below what other bread recipes you want to see next. I am working on a burger bun recipe because I've had some requests for burger buns, and so let me know what else you want to see. I'd love to share it with you, and I will see you next time. Bye.